I'm going to open the File Manager. I need to start a new file, so I click on the New File icon. Need to give it a name, mod2 3D. Most importantly, I must select the correct seed file. So Browse, and here's our seed file list. Select the seed 3D design file as the seed, keeping in mind that you don't necessarily have to choose MicroStation seed file if you have added your own seed files to the path shown at the top of this box. We, however, need to click the MicroStation seed file. So I select that as a seed. Now I need to save the file, so we'll save it. And my file shows up in the list of files available to me. So we'll start the new design file. And we're presented with the standard 4 view windows. Before we look at those though, I want to change some settings. I'm going to go to Design File and Working Units and change the rather bizarre units that MicroStation uses in its seed files. I'm going to go to the standard architectural English dimensions. Now if you're working in metric, please set your file to metric. And I'm going to change the labels just to conform to what we're doing here and say OK. And now I can talk about the view arrangement that MicroStation has in its seed file. You'll typically see 4 open view windows initially. And if you look carefully, you'll see that this one is called the top view. View number 2 is called the isometric view. View number 3 is the front view. And view number 4 is the right view. I'll explain where these come from in the next video. I should mention how I've arranged my personal screen. You don't have to do this yourself, but I need to do this because of the low resolution for my screen that I must use for the videos. What I've done is I've moved the view controls, which are normally at the top of each view. I've moved them to the right side. And I've done this through Workspace and Preferences and View Options. And the Show View Toolbox item, I've set that to the right side of the toolbox. Now I've done this to give me more vertical space for my view. In fact, the more drawing space I have, the better, particularly with 4 views in place. But the downside to that is, of course, that I cannot see all of the view tools. They're disappearing below the actual window. So to compensate for not seeing the complete list, what I'm going to do is go to this toolbox, which is the View toolbox, and open that as a toolbox itself. I can then drag this over and dock it on the right side of the screen. This is fine since it gives me less horizontal room, which is not so much of a problem as the vertical height of the views. So this gives me access to all of the tools that I need. The second thing to notice is that I have moved all of my editing and drawing tools to this tasks icon on the top left of the screen. I've done this because if I unpin this, then I see my toolbox sitting here, as you can see, taking up a lot of space. So to avoid that, unpin it from the screen, pops it up to there. Whenever I need a particular tool, just click on that and the tool systems pop into place. In addition, I've also added my own personal toolbox at the bottom here for my most used tools. Now, you don't have to do any of this necessarily. I'm only doing it because of the resolution of my screen and the fact that I need as much drawing space as possible. Now, you won't always be using 4 views at once all the time. In fact, you're most likely to want to draw in the isometric view as a full screen view. And this will do a little later in the videos. For the moment, however, this is the setup that I'm working with so that you understand where I'm coming from and what you're seeing. Now, in the next video, we'll take a look at the design cube coordinate system, which is equally vital, and from which stems the arrangement of these standard views.